What is Tower of God? What lies in the dark depths of this enigmatic, seemingly infinite yet possibly finite tower? What terrifying secrets, dangerous adventures and impossible to decipher enigmas await you on each floor of this colossal tower? Let's step into the labyrinth of questions and answer in search of the truth that lies at the heart of the mystery-filled universe of Tower of God. Each step brings us closer to uncovering the hidden secrets behind this mystical tower and its intriguing characters, but sometimes we will delve even deeper into mystery. So prepare your favorite snack, pour yourself a refreshing drink, and let's venture together into this vast and intriguing universe of Tower of God. Let's start with some interesting information from the wiki. The most intriguing discovery from the wiki is the protagonist's name, Baam. In Korean, it's pronounced the same as in English, but what is truly captivating is the fact that Baam in Korean also means night, among other meanings. For those who haven't started reading this manhwa yet, this aspect might seem insignificant, but for those who have already gone through the series or have just started reading, it is certainly intriguing, since the action begins with Baam outside the tower in a dark area very similar to a cave. It becomes a symbol of the mystery that looms over the entire story. The significance of his name, along with this initial environment and lifestyle, generates a multitude of fascinating theories about his origin and future. A second interesting piece of information is about SIU, the author of this manhwa. According to the wiki, it seems that on the advice of a senior in the army, SIU started drawing manhwa. During this period, SIU drew 10 books of training manhwa, which form the backbone of the Tower of God manhwa that he later began to create for the internet. Additionally, SIU already has major events and characters planned, sometimes even more than 8 years in advance, and often shares additional information about the Tower of God universe on his blog after each chapter is published. My name is Baam. I grew up in darkness, but my dream is to reach the top of the tower to find Rachel. In the Tower of God, we meet Baam, the main protagonist of the story, a young man with a mysterious past and a promising future. His journey begins outside the tower in a dark world, and Baam aims to climb the tower to find his friend Rachel and uncover the hidden secrets of the colossal Tower of God. Although he is determined and brave, Baam can sometimes make rash and obsessive decisions, especially when it comes to Rachel. Accompanied by his allies and facing a variety of characters, Baam navigates throughout a labyrinth of floors filled with danger and mysteries, gradually revealing surprising truths, extremely interesting and mysterious characters, and hidden powers. Throughout this story, Baam develops both physically and emotionally, learning to control his powers and adapt his strategies. Although his growth can be explosive and sometimes unpredictable, this defines him as an irregular, an unconventional participant in the tower. However, Baam is not the only irregular in the tower. Discovering that the tower hides much more than meets the eye, Baam travels to the rooms full of secrets and meets characters with hidden motivations and many other secrets and twists. Through Baam, Tower of God offers us a captivating story full of lessons about friendship, loyalty, and the search for truth. Each chapter brings new revelations and twists, captivating us with its mystery and intensity. Thus, Baam becomes a symbol of courage and determination, inspiring us to face our own obstacles and seek the truth in our own lives. Before discussing the tower, let's talk about a few of Baam's allies and enemies. Kun Aguilera Agnes, also known as Kun, is one of the brightest strategists in the Tower of God series. Initially, Kun is presented as a mysterious and cold character, but as the story progresses, he becomes one of Baam's closest and most loyal friends. Rock, a ray tracer, a huge and powerful lizardman. Rock becomes one of the Baam's best friends. Although he initially displays a harsh attitude towards Baam, over time Rock develops a deep bond and dedicates his life to protecting him. Hatsu is a swordsman who joins Baam and his team on their journey journey to the tower. He demonstrates unwavering loyalty to Baam and becomes one of the group pillars of support. Rachel, initially presented as a close friend of Baam, Rachel later becomes an enigmatic and manipulative enemy. Their complex relationship adds dramatic tension to the story. Zahard is one of the main antagonist figures in the Tower of God. He is the king who stands at the top of the tower, or at least that is presumed so far, as from a certain level no one can advance because of him, making him a formidable enemy for Baam and his friends. Ren, one of Zahard's subordinates, Ren is a powerful and ruthless adversary who uses his power to achieve his goals and test Baam and his team. Rising towards the sky, the Tower of God stands like a giant stone column, shining in the sunlight with a mysterious and alluring aura, a colossal structure with thousands of floors, each hiding incredible secrets and dangers. However, don't be fooled, because there are a multitude of words connected to the tower in a direct or indirect way. One of the most enigmatic words is the one Baam comes from, a dark and lifeless place similar to an immense cave. This mysterious background adds a fascinating depth to Baam's story and shapes his character in a unique way, especially due to the fact that his name also means night in Korean. However, to reveal the hidden truths and explore the mysteries of the tower and Baam, as well as many other mysteries, let's move on the spoiler section. Spoiler warning, attention, the spoiler section of the video is coming up. If you want to avoid spoilers, skip straight to the conclusion of the video. I warned you in case of anything. Now let's get into details and provide explanations as detailed as possible about what we discussed in the non-spoiler section. Who is Baam and what is Baam? Is he a human or a completely different species from the tower? Why is he an irregular? What exactly is an irregular? And many other questions of this kind that I think you have in mind right now. So let's take them one by one. Baam is a boy who grew up his entire life outside the tower, in a world similar to a huge cave, where it is always dark. However, he enters the tower along with Rachel throughout a more than dubious event. More precisely, the fact that out of nowhere two huge doors appear beneath the two, thus entering the colossal tower called Tower of God. Baam is certainly a human, yet his parents are much stronger than you might imagine. His parents are from the same generation as Zahard. Why is Baam an irregular? Well, as I said, his evolution as a character, but especially in terms of power level, is not constant but explosive. The stronger he becomes, the faster his growth rate accelerates. Even though he is much weaker than most characters at the beginning, in just a few chapters he becomes more talented and powerful than a large part of the characters from his generation. He already getting closer and in the future will even surpass the power level of characters from previous generations. I want to clarify that irregulars are not necessarily the same. Even though they are characterized as irregulars, the reason why they are considered irregulars can vary, but they are certainly all placed in that category because their growth rate is not consistent but explosive, or because they are extremely powerful from the start. For example, Mazino is another character considered to be an irregular. Zahard is also suspiciously powerful without a clear answer provided. That's why here is a theory among fans of the series that he is also an irregular. However, in Baam's case, we can clearly see why he is an irregular, as throughout the story he absorbs powers that theoretically should control and affect parts of his mind. However, throughout the story he is not affected by any power. Plus, he has numerous powers, which when mastered completely can be extremely powerful individually. Nevertheless, he doesn't have one or two such powers, but a multitude. Practically, he is like an infinite void that can absorb any power that enters his body, transforming it into his own power. This leaves room for hundreds and thousands of theories. However, I want to keep this video as short as possible, so I will talk about this in the future video that will cover the manhwa Tower of God. If you want me to discuss various theories from the Tower of God universe, leave that in the comments section. Nevertheless, to leave you with a more personal theory before continuing with the other characters and the tower, I tend to believe that Baam will be the only one who can truly be called a god or deity in the tower. But of course, not now, but when he manages to master all his powers at a perfect level, and probably other new powers he will acquire, because I don't think his current powers will be the only ones he will have, especially since it has been explicitly presented that Baam is like an infinite void that can absorb anything without limits. Now let's also discuss a bit about the other characters and the tower. We talked about Zahar and how he and Baam's parents were of the same generation. More precisely, they climbed the floors of the tower during the same period. They were not just of the same generation, they were even friends and teammates, as well as the leaders of the 10 great families. The 10 great families are the families formed by the 10 great warriors who first entered the tower with Zahar. They are part of the ruling class of the tower, and their members are often extremely powerful, blessed with the power of their ancestors. However, even though they are considered the 10 great families, that is only in terms of power, because some of them have committed such great atrocities that it's hard to explain in words. They have killed mercilessly as if any other person is inferior to them, sometimes even towards members of their own families, not to mention their leader Zahar, who has created his own empire within the tower, coming to rule the tower like a tyrant. Thus, anyone who disagrees with him automatically becomes Zahar's enemy. Plus, there are very many inhuman experiments carried out by him in his desire to create human weapons. I could make an entire video just about Zahar's atrocities, however, we will discuss this in a future video. Now, let's talk a bit about this mysterious tower called Tower of God. The tower itself is filled to the brim with mysteries about the worlds it's connected to, and even about itself. To clarify, let me give a few examples. For example, the connection between the tower and the worlds outside the tower. It's a mystery that is not very clearly explained. We are told that there are worlds outside the tower that are connected to it, but how they are connected or why they are connected is not yet revealed in the manhwa. At the same time, the tower itself has many unexplained aspects, such as the fact that each floor, although not a world in itself, has day and night or any element that makes you think that the floors are a world in themselves. However, they are not. Not to mention that each floor has an administrator. However, at the beginning of the manhwa, we are introduced to a different kind of administrator, and not the real ones. More precisely, those placed there by Zahar. Later, we find out that the real administrators are entirely different, and Zahar has forbidden interaction with these administrators for a specific reason, as well as the fact that the natural way of climbing the tower was entirely different before. The tests for climbing the tower administered by the administrators placed by Zahar are all his creation, and many other mysteries of this kind. However, the biggest mystery, about which there are dozens of hypotheses, is the structure of the tower itself. Normally, you would think, it's a tower, I just need to climb to the top, especially since the manhwa and the anime begin with Baam at the top of the tower. However, if you analyze the entire manhwa, something will not make sense at all. And if you now say, okay Azabe, tell me what else is there? Well, let's list a few details that makes the theory that the tower is actually one where you descend and you actually start from the top, and the end is the deepest point, also known as the top. First of all, the way Baam opens the door to the tower is not what you would expect. The doors are beneath him, not in front or above him. Moreover, Rachel is not the one who opens them, but Baam is the one worthy of opening the tower doors by force, even though he was not chosen. Rachel just happened to be there when Baam opened the doors, and that's how she also got into the tower. Even though she doesn't have Baam's power to force her way into the tower, this is also another characteristic of irregulars. Rachel just happened to be there and took advantage of the opportunity provided by Baam. The second reason why the theory can be very rare is that the first administrator, the same one who overlooked the fact that Rachel has no place in the tower but allows her to still be in the tower only to test and motivate Baam to climb the tower to the top, he seems to be the most powerful administrator of all, something that would not make sense. However, it would make sense if the tower is actually one where you descend, not ascend, making sense why the most powerful administrator is the first one you meet. And the list of mysteries that make this theory make a lot of sense could continue, but this would make the video twice as long as it is just right now because of this theory. So we will leave this theory for another video, and let's move on to the conclusion of this video. After all the discussions about this manhwa, both in the non-spoiler section of the video and the spoiler section, I believe that the Tower of God manhwa is not just a good manhwa, but one that must be read, or at the very least, it definitely deserves a chance for you to see if it captivates you as much as it captivated me. Even though the story is extremely good, not to mention the action and its uniqueness, at least to me, it seems to do a very good job. However, something prevents me from giving it a perfect score, specifically a score of 10. That being the fact that throughout the story, Baam is portrayed as the child of prophecy. I could make an entire video explaining this statement, given how many details there are on this topic, and don't get me wrong, I believe that the execution of this idea is phenomenal and very well implemented. However, an extremely overused idea for a main character in a story, which at least in my case makes me to have to deduct a point from the final score of this manhwa. Thus, we arrive at a score of 9 out of 10, a score that I consider fair and give it to this manhwa. Even Mal, my animalist, seems to be quite close to my opinion. I hope I have clarified my opinion about the Tower of God manhwa and sparked your interest in giving this manhwa a chance. If you have another opinions, ratings, or aspects you consider omitted, please let me know in the comments. And if you liked this kind of video, YouTube suggests that you might like this one, so give it a chance. I've been Azabe, I wish you a pleasant reading. Bye!
Dude, do you really think this manhwa is that good?
You mean Tower of God? Oh no, lol. I was just saying nonsense that people believe. Did you really believe me? Wait a minute, why is the microphone light still on? Shouldn't it turn it off when it's not recording? Oh no.